Man. Could not agree more. We got a super chat here from Pack Attack. Thank you so much, buddy. Sorry you had to wait. Help me feel optimistic about all these hires with the brain emoji. So I like the hires. I do. The only thing I don't like about it, Pack Attack, let me tell you the negative, and then I'll give you my positive. Okay. The negative is I think we missed an opportunity to improve our offensive coordinator's position and specifically our offensive line room. I would like to see them go in a different direction with offensive line coaches. Now, that's my personal opinion. Because, you can't just cut all your offensive linemen and just start over, right? However, if I set my little pea brain to the side and listen to Brian Balaga's take is, what do you expect these coaches to do? He said in a very nice way, I don't think you got the dogs to do what you're trying to do, meaning Goody has missed on a good chunk of this offensive line in terms of the players. Now, maybe they'll work out better in another system. I don't know. Right? Nobody really knows until they're tested in another system. So Brian Balaga kind of puts me a little bit at ease with us keeping the offensive line coach Butkus in place, at least for the time being, and Adam Stenovich as the OC, who's an former offensive lineman at Michigan, obviously. He was a highly touted offensive line coach in San Francisco, if I remember right, with the 49ers. So people like to look at Steno like he's just this stick in the mud. He don't know what he's doing because he doesn't call plays. I have a hard time believing that he wouldn't get swooped up really, really quick if he was on the open market. He would have a job so fast. I would just like that job to be offensive line coach. Right now, it's obvious nobody was willing to give him an OC job. So manipulate the system a little bit. Manipulate the rules a little bit and have him coach O-line and then bring in someone else to help you as OC. I wanted Mike McDaniel. The problem with that is you got to have Mike McDaniel call the plays. Now, you're probably going, well, he'll be a better play caller than Matt LaFleur. Really? Why is he fired? I'm just asking. Matt LaFleur had a top 5 passing offense this year. Again, well, why did the offense struggle at times? The running game, the run blocking. Again, that's why I look at the offensive line coach like, all right. But I do get to check my ego because Brian Balaga said that. Now, in terms of feeling optimistic with the defensive side of the ball, I love the hires. I do. Now, I wanted Jim Leonard, but probably for the wrong reasons. I wanted Jim Leonard. I think he's going to be a great coach, don't get me wrong. And I think he's the new defensive coordinator in Buffalo, right? So I wanted Jim Leonard, but a good chunk of that, Tim, is because I know all the Wisconsin fans that watch our show, I know how excited they would be for it, Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I put Jonathan Gannon way up here and Jim Leonard down here. I'm not saying that. However, it's much closer, in my opinion. But Jonathan Gannon has defensive coordinator experience and play calling experience. That's something that Jim Leonard hasn't had yet, right? Now, what did Jonathan Gannon do as a DC? He was one of the most highly touted defensive coordinators, defensive coaches in the league, so much so that he got one of the few head coaching jobs in Arizona. So I think he's perfectly capable of running our defense. Now, the other hire, Bobby Babich. I think Bobby Babich is a huge improvement over Derek Ansley. And you guys know I like Derek Ansley. But again, Derek Ansley's experience as defensive coordinator was with the Chargers, wasn't so good. Now, it's great he had DC experience. Bobby Babich had one of the best pass defenses in Buffalo. Also, Bobby Babich brings experience coaching linebackers where he coached Matt Milano to a all-pro performance there with Buffalo. Then he switched over to the safeties room where it either one happened before the other. When he was with the safeties room, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Jordan Poyer, first-team All-Pro. Micah Hyde, second-team All-Pro. He switched to linebacker. All of a sudden, bang, Matt Milano, first-team All-Pro. Or at least second-team All-Pro. So you got someone who's a lot more, I don't know if fluid's the right word, versatile, right, Tim? So you get a defensive backs coach and passing game coordinator who sees the game kind of through the eyes of a linebacker, while Jonathan Gannon, former DB coach, he's seen it from the back end. So I really like that combination personally. And you get to keep DeMarcus Covington, at least for the time being. I think that's great. What do you think, Tim?
I agree, especially with the D-line group. And then, when you talk about, from an offensive, perspective to feel optimistic, I think you alluded to this before that, if we're keeping Coach Butkus and we're keeping Steno, maybe the conversation between Matt and Steno is, yeah, you're the OC, but, lean O-line heavy, man. Focus on this O-line. Let's work with Luke Butkus and get this O-line together. We'll do the best we can to get a crop of talent in here, but, when it comes to offensive struggles, it's rooted in that O-line, right? So maybe it's just an adjustment of attitude. And then defensive side of the ball too. Yeah, I mean, anyone who's listened to this show more than once knows that I'm a huge fan of DeMarcus Covington. I think he brings a lot of value as a leader and a teacher with this defensive front, and just something a little different than I've been used to seeing these last couple of years. So hopefully he does stick around long term. And I'm with you, Clay. I'm excited about the Bobby Babich hire. I was a big Derek Ansley fan, but we saw what happened with that secondary last year. So I'm all for a positive change here, and I think Bobby Babich might be the dude that can do that.
Yeah, I think so too. And thank you for the super chat, Pack Attack. Appreciate it. Let's see what the rest of the chat's saying about it. 2-0 for this says, I don't know about this Cephas guy though. I agree. He's one of those that's like, what has he done? Right? He's your new linebacker coach. It's obviously it's I keep wanting to call him Rich Gannon. I'm aging myself here, but
John Gannon.
Yeah, Jonathan Gannon, like it's one of his guys. So, you got to give him some freedom to bring in his guys and try to do what he wants to do there as well. So I'm cautiously optimistic 2-0 for this with Cephas. I honestly am. Now I hope it works out, but I can understand where you're coming from. Like, I don't know about this one. But again, Bobby Babich in-house, maybe he can be able to help a little bit because Jonathan Gannon is going to be working with the DBs as well as defensive coordinator. So maybe you get a little bit of Bobby Babich bleeding over into the linebacker room too. I'm hoping, right? I'm hoping. So
I agree with that. Like 2-0 for this side, like we have to anticipate that, right? It's a new regime. We got a new DC. There's going to be new faces.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Chris the Casual in. Well, he's changed his name. It's Chris in ... PFF is biased. All right. So Gannon gonna need a better pass rushing front than what we have as it stands today. And I think I disagree with it, Chris. I disagree with that comment, respectively, of course. I mean, you're talking about a dude in Micah Parsons when he was healthy. People forget how this defense was playing with Micah Parsons. It was off the charts. Off the best guy around. Gary got off to a hot start. Obviously, it tapered off down the end. Will Gary be back? I don't know, right? We'll see. I think that the pass rushing is not going to be a problem, to be honest with you. We have one of the best pass rushers in the entire National Football League before Michael went down,
We need to get better against the run up front.
Right. Gary was leading the league in sacks for the first 6 or 7 weeks. That's how good they were, right? Coming out of the gate. Now, did we not adjust down the stretch? I don't know. We'd have to dig into the tape a little bit more to come up with a definitive answer, but I understand the concern there. I guess all I'm saying, Chris, I can see where you're coming from. I'm just not worried about it. I think the pass rush is going to be fine. Again, you also got to take into consideration the corners on the backside too, right? Like you got to get better at corner. You got to. It's just something that has to happen. So appreciate the comment there, Bub. Coach Lynn says we don't have guys that run duo and gap scheme runs well. I think we have zone blocking offensive line, in my opinion. That's what we always scouted for, right, Coach? Yeah. And then they go in free agency and said, let's get a big mauler. Let's get a duo guy. Let's go get our boy Aaron Banks. And it just crash and burn, right? So I would like to see him get back to wide zone more. This all started tapering down, started trending down when we signed Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs had a hell of a year his first year, right? But we would all agree it wasn't because the O-line was blocking great. He was making everybody miss, right? So it's not – don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Josh Jacobs is a bad pickup. He's a great pickup. I just wish that we would get on the same page in regards to, okay, let's get the offensive lineman that can block what we want to run. And that's where Goody and LaFleur have to get on the same page. I would not be opposed to going back to more wide zone boost scheme because I think Josh Jacobs can run that. I do. His cutting ability, one cut, go, get downhill, lower the pad level, and boom. I think he would be great at that. So I kind of feel like last year the coaches and Goody, they sat down and said, all right, we're going to really press into duo. We're really going to press into gap scheme, and it just didn't work. So I would like to see him get back to that. Just you ain't got to run it every play, Tim, but just a little change up here or there, right? So to get creative.
Yeah, and then bring the players in for that scheme, for that goal, right? You know, like quit putting square pegs into round holes, right? Let's get our guys here and let's run what we need to run.
Yeah, absolutely. 2-0 for this says, I'm actually really excited about Gannon. Seems to be a case of great defensive coordinator, possibly bad head coach. Arizona is also just a horribly run organization. Yeah. Amen, amen, amen. Everything.
And another amen.
Yeah. And that's why we got to be careful, myself included, right? To judge someone as a coordinator based off of how they performed as a head coach. It's a totally different animal. Totally different animal.
And some guys are better coordinators than head coaches. It is what it is. We've seen that time and time again. And then, to 2-0 for this's point there, I mean, look at the talent and look at the, the crop of players that he had to work with in Arizona. And like you said, bad management. I mean, it's a recipe for disaster. So I'm willing to not judge him on the previous head coaching experience and just look at it as, hey, he's got head coaching experience,
Yeah, definitely. All right, Tim, this is a fun show, man. If you guys are watching this back later, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about the coaching hires? We didn't have that segment earmarked down, but it worked out great. So I appreciate the super chat by Pack Attack getting that kicked off. Fascinating conversation. Let us know in the comments. You've had about a week to kind of settle in here with the coaching hires, right? How do you feel about what the Packers did in terms of their coaches? Let us know. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future content. Tim, you got anything else you want to hit before we wrap up, bub?
Not at all. Just thanks for having me again, and looking forward to breaking down more of these draft prospects as we go forward, man. It's going to be an awesome journey here towards the draft.
Every day I wake up thinking we might skip a show today because, we've covered everything. And by the time I get my cup of coffee and get settled in, I'm like, we could hit this. We could talk about that. There's plenty to talk about. So we'll be here.
Plenty more mock drafts to do too, right?
Definitely. Plenty more. So you guys and gals, do me a big favor. Make sure you spin those laces. 2-0 for this confirmed. It is a football tonight, so hit that like button and enjoy that spinning pigskin. Also, the best way to support what we do here at Packers Total Access is to join our Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. And again, I say this all the time. If you don't have the funds, you don't have $3 a month to join our Patreon group, you being in here, watching the stream, commenting, taking a second to hit like, hitting us with a Go Pack Go in the comments, it's more than enough. We created the Patreon group as a way that people can support us on the side if they want to, because people were asking for it. And now we've tried to give you guys all kinds of extra value with extra content over there. That's all that is. So please don't feel obligated to do that. Just know it's there if you do want to support. So, Tim, appreciate your time, man.
Thanks for having me, Clay.
All right. Everybody have a great night. We will see y'all tomorrow, and we'll have plenty of time. We'll definitely do a mock draft tomorrow. We'll have time to do that. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. And if you're in the Patreon group, I'll let you know over there, and let's all hop in there and have a conversation. Appreciate everybody in the Patreon group. That's Tim. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack Go.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.